Second house, or Kutumba Bhava for Gemini rising, part 1. For Gemini rising, the second house falls in Cancer, ruled by the moon. This placement creates a strong emotional undercurrent beneath what otherwise appears as a quick, cerebral persona. While Mercury rules the ascendant, lending intellect and versatility, the moon governs their Kutumba, making the foundational values deeply tied to emotions, family history, and subconscious memory. The contradiction between air, Gemini, and water, Cancer, creates a native who processes the world intellectually, yet whose self-worth is shaped by fluctuating emotional tides and deeply personal attachments. The moon here makes speech emotionally infused, often gentle, soothing, and familial in tone. These individuals tend to speak in a way that nurtures, comforts, or reflects emotional vulnerability, especially if the moon is well placed. When afflicted, the tone may become passive-aggressive, overly sentimental, or reflective of inner insecurity. Their voice carries their mood, and their communication often mirrors how emotionally safe or accepted they feel in a situation. This makes their verbal presence unpredictable but deeply felt by others. The second house, being ruled by the moon, suggests financial patterns linked to emotional cycles. Income may come in waves, fluctuating with mood, motivation, or emotional needs. The native often uses money as a buffer for security, comfort, or even nostalgia, spending on home, food, family, or emotional gratification. True financial stability comes when emotional self-regulation is cultivated. They may find success in nurturing professions, education, caregiving, hospitality, psychology, or creative expression rooted in the past. Family for Gemini risings with Cancer in the second house is emotionally formative. The moon brings maternal influence, emotional conditioning, and cyclical behavior patterns. The native may be raised in a home where emotional expression was central, either in excess or deprivation. Family may have relied on emotional bonding over logic, leaving the native sensitive to tone and feeling, even if they outwardly appear logical. Emotional validation from family becomes critical for early self-worth, and their adult life often mirrors unresolved ancestral emotional patterns. Physically, the second house governs the face, throat, and speech apparatus. With the moon here, the face often carries soft features, rounded cheeks, or a water-like reflectiveness in the eyes. The voice may be calming or lilting, and prone to changes with mood or hormonal cycles. Their eating habits are mood-dependent, and they may have a strong sensory memory around taste, smells, and voice tone, anchoring their emotional life in familiar sensory experiences. The second house is activated at ages 2, 14, 26, 38, 50, 62, and 74. These years mark critical shifts in self-worth, family patterns, or emotional intelligence. Age 14 may bring early emotional disillusionment or attachment restructuring. At 26, financial identity is reshaped through work or relationship choices. At 38, they often confront legacy, how their speech, care, and security shape the next generation. Each cycle refines their understanding of how deeply emotional nourishment ties into both earning and speaking. Psychologically, the Kutumba Bhava for Gemini rising indicates a tug-of-war between rational understanding and emotional conditioning. The moon here implies that early belief systems were not taught but absorbed emotionally. The native may intellectualize emotion or narrate vulnerability without actually processing it. Their sense of stability is fragile if they remain disconnected from inner emotional rhythms. True self-worth arises when they stop explaining emotions and start embodying them, through safe relationships and inner anchoring. At their best, Gemini ascendants with a moon-ruled second house speak from a place of care and intuitive resonance. Their words can heal, soothe, and connect. They earn through attuned communication, emotional wisdom, and nourishment-based professions. When unbalanced, they become emotionally reactive in speech, financially impulsive, or overdependent on familial approval. Their evolution lies in learning that emotional safety is an internal state, and that self-worth, like the moon, waxes and wanes, but always returns with the right inner light. Conjunctions in second house, or Kutumba Bhava for Gemini, part 2, moon with Ketu, co-ruler of 6th. Moon governs family, food, and speech, second house, while Ketu brings subconscious detachment and past life residue from the 6th house of conflict and service. This conjunction disrupts emotional bonding within the family and makes the native emotionally numb or dissociated from speech and sustenance. The voice may be haunting, soft, or strangely muted, reflecting an inner sense of alienation. Childhood often involves unstable maternal presence or emotional confusion in the home. The native may struggle to articulate emotions despite deep feeling and develop a paradoxical craving for security while rejecting intimacy. Moon second lord with Mars 11th and 6th lord. The moon's nurturing quality combines with Mars's ambition, 11th, and conflict instinct, 6th. The result is emotionally charged speech, intense, protective, and often reactive. The native may speak defensively, especially when feeling misunderstood or emotionally vulnerable. Their family environment could involve competition or suppressed anger, particularly with siblings or the mother. Financially, this pairing suggests gains through high-energy fields, sales, sports, medicine, but with inconsistent emotional motivation. The 6th lordship of Mars adds struggle, making the native prone to emotional burnout if they don't learn to regulate inner tension. Moon, 2nd lord, with Saturn, 8th and 9th lord. The moon's softness meets Saturn's cold restraint, bringing themes of karmic burden and dharma. Saturn rules both crisis, 8th, and belief systems, 9th, so the native may inherit emotional restrictions or moral rigidity from family. Speech is serious, careful, and reflective, sometimes bordering on melancholic. Emotional security may be delayed or replaced with emotional duty. There's often a gap between what they feel and what they are allowed to express. Financial gains come through institutions or long-term efforts, especially in fields tied to education, psychology, or inheritance. Emotionally, their personality hardens over time. Moon second lord with Rahu, co-ruler of 12th. The moon here is overwhelmed by Rahu's insatiable hunger, with Rahu acting from the background of the 12th house, losses, dreams, escapism. This creates emotional overdrive, obsessive speech, compulsive emotional eating, or dramatized familial expectations. The native may appear emotionally intense yet unstable, swinging between oversharing and secrecy. Financially, this brings opportunities through foreign sources, media, or emotionally captivating arts, but without consistent grounding. Their kutumba becomes a stage for karmic craving, and unless emotional boundaries are learned, the personality suffers from empathy fatigue and internal chaos. Moon, 2nd lord Curie 1st and 4th lord. This bright combination unites intellect, ascendant, and emotional roots, 4th, with the moon's role in speech and family. It creates an emotionally intelligent, eloquent communicator who can switch between rational explanation and sensitive expression with ease. Their voice is warm, thoughtful, and persuasive, excellent for storytelling, teaching, or healing professions. Family likely emphasized education and emotional dialogue. The 4th house influence suggests closeness to the mother or maternal ancestry. The native may earn through emotionally intelligent trades, writing, counseling, real estate, or education, with a personality that radiates verbal grace and cognitive emotional harmony. Moon, 2nd lord with Venus, 5th and 12th lord. The moon and Venus blend Cancer's emotional comfort with Venus's creativity and romanticism, 5th, and spiritual longing, 12th. This produces a sensual, poetic, and nurturing personality, often expressed through speech or food. The voice is sweet, alluring, and emotionally magnetic. The native may come from a family that values art, love, or spiritual traditions, but may also struggle with escapism or emotional indulgence. Financially, this is a fertile combination, good for art, fashion, beauty, or emotionally resonant professions. However, the 12th house undertone brings emotional sacrifice or financial drain unless emotional boundaries are consciously held. Moon, 2nd lord with Sun, 3rd lord. This union of the moon and sun combines emotion and ego, voice and willpower. The sun, ruling the 3rd house of courage and expression, lends assertiveness to the moon's otherwise soft communication. Speech is confident, radiant, and purpose-driven. The native likely had a strong sibling influence or a father figure who emphasized self-expression. There's pride in family heritage and personal speech, sometimes veering into dogma. Financially, this supports self-made success through initiative. However, emotional validation may become too tightly linked to how they are perceived or how much they are heard. These conjunctions in the 2nd house for Gemini rising create distinct emotional architectures around voice, values, and family conditioning. With the moon as second lord, every planetary conjunction colors speech and self-worth through mood, memory, and emotional security. Each planetary guest either stabilizes or destabilizes this lunar house, marking the difference between articulate nourishment and emotionally volatile communication. Second house or Kutumba Bhava for Libra rising, part 1. For Libra rising, the second house falls in Scorpio, ruled by Mars and co-ruled by Ketu. Libra seeks beauty, diplomacy, and equilibrium. Yet its Kutumba is governed by a sign of intensity, depth, and emotional upheaval. This creates a paradox in personality. The ascendant wants to keep things harmonious, while the second house ensures that family, speech, and inner values are tied to control, secrecy, and emotional complexity. The result is a native who speaks gently but holds powerful emotional undercurrents beneath the surface. Mars ruling the second house brings assertiveness and raw energy into speech and resource management. Libra risings may speak with a tone that is calm on the surface but charged with intensity, especially when emotionally provoked. Their voice carries weight, and when Mars is strong, it gives clarity, drive, and persuasive force. But when afflicted, speech becomes biting, cutting, or defensive, often used as a weapon when cornered. Ketu's co-ownership adds emotional distance or abrupt silence, making speech either surgically focused or enigmatically absent. The family environment for Libra risings tends to carry hidden tensions, power dynamics, emotional manipulation, or ancestral trauma. They may have grown up in atmospheres where love was conditional, boundaries were blurred, or trust came with a price. As adults, they become acutely sensitive to loyalty, betrayal, and control in family and intimate relationships. Their early experiences with Kutumba leave them guarded, soft in appearance, but intensely protective of their personal truth and financial security. Financially, Scorpio in the second house shows that income may come through strategic, high-stakes, high-order, emotionally charged domains: law, finance, research, psychology, crisis management, or healing. The native earns not by charm, but by penetrating insight, resilience, or transformative capacity. Their relationship with money is personal, often private, and subject to intense control. When balanced, this makes them excellent at financial recovery or planning. When imbalanced, it leads to hoarding, secrecy, or financial anxiety tied to trust issues. Physically, the second house governs the face, mouth, and throat. Scorpio's influence gives sharp or piercing features, strong jaws, intense eyes, or dark undertones to voice and expression. Their speech may carry a magnetic pull, often surprising others with its raw honesty or unexpected depth. Emotionally, speech is tightly managed, used sparingly, but with surgical intent when needed. Eating habits may reflect emotional states, swinging between control and indulgence depending on internal stability. This house activates at ages 2, 14, 26, 38, 50, 62, and 74. These years mark emotional and financial turning points, moments when the native's values, self-worth, or family entanglements demand reinvention. At 14, they often experience betrayal or deep psychological shifts. By 26, financial independence becomes urgent. At 38, they may either accumulate significant wealth or shed inherited values to create their own. Each cycle forces them to confront emotional patterns tied to security, worth, and emotional power. Psychologically, the Kutumba Bhava for Libra rising operates as a controlled chamber beneath their airy surface. While they seek external peace, internal values are formed through emotional conflict, power dynamics, and deep relational patterning. Their self-worth isn't built through validation alone, but through surviving emotional extremes and gaining mastery over their responses. They often appear composed, but underneath lies an intensely private world where values are non-negotiable and speech is sacred. At their best, Libra ascendants with Scorpio in the second house speak with penetrating wisdom, manage resources with precision, and bring integrity to emotionally complex spaces. They understand value as power and express it through discernment. When imbalanced, they may suppress their truth, become passive-aggressive, or use speech manipulatively. Their evolution lies in embracing emotional transparency, not as chaos, but as the raw material for true inner peace and conscious speech. Conjunctions in second house or Kutumba Bhava for Libra: Mercury, 9th and 12th Lord, with a conjunction of intellectual subtlety and spiritual detachment. The native may speak sparsely, with cryptic phrasing or mystical undertones. Communication avoids triviality, often veering toward metaphysical or philosophical themes. Family dynamics may involve withdrawal, unspoken rules, or karmic silence. Financially, this leads to gains through research, retreat-based work, or behind-the-scenes roles. The personality is introspective, abstract, and withdrawn, more inclined to think than to explain. Jupiter, 3rd and 6th Lord, with Saturn, 4th and 5th Lord. This is a karmic combination where Jupiter's expansive learning is filtered through Saturn's realism. Speech is structured, authoritative, and ethical. The native comes from a background that values responsibility, discipline, and knowledge transmission. Gains come from teaching, service, legal administration, or any field requiring ideological precision. Emotionally, this creates restraint, a sense of internal duty, and discomfort with spontaneity. The personality is principled, measured, and mission-driven, often respected more with age. Rahu with Moon, 10th Lord. Rahu amplifies the emotional need for recognition tied to the moon's influence on career and public image. The voice becomes a performative channel, emotional, persuasive, and captivating. Family legacy may be unstable or emotionally excessive, with a focus on achievement or public persona. Professionally, this benefits fields like media, acting, politics, or public healing. The personality is magnetic and ambitious, but emotionally erratic, requiring regulation of highs and lows for consistent public impact. Venus, 2nd and 8th Lord, with Sun, 11th Lord. This conjunction blends beauty, inheritance, and speech, Venus, with leadership and social ambition, Sun. The native speaks with charm and pride, often using aesthetics as a path to gain influence. The family may emphasize wealth, image, and legacy, sometimes with power struggles beneath the surface. Financially, this favors luxury trade, fashion, beauty industries, or public arts. The personality is polished, strategic, and publicly conscious, seeking validation through refined presence and social networks. Mars, 2nd and 7th Lord, with Jupiter, 3rd and 6th Lord. This combination merges assertion and principle, producing a bold, purposeful communicator. The native often expresses themselves with moral conviction and fearless initiative. The family may have fostered a sense of personal justice, independence, or outspoken values. Earnings come through law, strategy, teaching, or physical service professions. The personality is courageous, advisory, and persistent, someone who leads with conviction and thrives in challenge-based environments. Saturn, 4th and 5th Lord, with Ketu, a heavy, introspective pairing that gives the voice weight but strips it of warmth. The native may come from a home marked by emotional austerity, spiritual tension, or ancestral karmic weight. Speech is minimal, serious, or stoic. Creative expression is muted or delayed. Financial gains come from conservative, legacy-based, or solitary efforts. The personality is grounded but emotionally aloof, often respected for maturity, yet internally burdened by emotional isolation or detachment. Rahu with Mercury, 9th and 12th Lord. Rahu exaggerates Mercury's restlessness and capacity for abstract, unconventional thought. The voice becomes clever, persuasive, and sometimes manipulative. The native often walks a fine line between genius and distortion, speaking with flair, but lacking grounding unless well-respected. Family teachings may be unconventional or fractured. This favors gains in tech, marketing, foreign trade, or esoteric writing. The personality is inventive, bold, and controversial, attracted to crossing mental or moral boundaries for discovery or recognition. Moon, 10th Lord, with Saturn, 4th and 5th Lord. This pairing fuses emotional visibility, Moon, with internal structure and caution, Saturn, creating a personality shaped by duty and responsibility. The voice is serious, emotionally muted, and laden with care. Family likely enforce discipline or social correctness early on. Speech may be hesitant or emotionally restrained, but ultimately carries depth and sincerity. Financial gains build slowly through trust and professionalism. The personality matures early, often carrying the emotional expectations of the household or public role with quiet fortitude. Second house, or Kutumba Bhava for Aquarius rising, part 1. For Aquarius rising, the second house falls in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Aquarius, governed by Saturn and co-ruled by Rahu, is rational, progressive, and idealistic. Pisces, however, brings emotion, imagination, and fluidity to the Kutumba, creating a sharp contrast between a detached outer personality and a deeply impressionable internal value system. While Aquarius natives may appear analytical or intellectually distant, their speech, family attachments, and emotional responses to security and self-worth are shaped by undercurrents of idealism, compassion, and spiritual longing. Jupiter, as the ruler of the second house, infuses speech with wisdom, softness, and moral inclination. The native often speaks in an uplifting, gentle, or visionary tone, less interested in facts and more drawn to ideals, meaning, or emotional resonance. When Jupiter is well placed, it gives articulate, wise, and ethically grounded speech. When afflicted, speech may become vague, overly generalized, or ungrounded. There's a tendency to speak in metaphors, to moralize, or to express idealism even in mundane matters. They value words not just for precision, but for the emotional atmosphere they create. Family life for Aquarius risings is often loving but diffuse. Pisces in the second house brings themes of sacrifice, emotional permeability, or spiritual influence into early conditioning. The native may be raised in a home where feelings were important, but boundaries were unclear. They may have experienced caregivers who were nurturing yet inconsistent, or whose emotional needs overshadowed structure. This produces a deep emotional undercurrent in the native's sense of belonging and security, though they may not readily show it due to Aquarius's natural emotional detachment. Financially, Jupiter ruling the second house gives philosophical or belief-driven earning patterns. Aquarius risings often pursue wealth through teaching, healing, counseling, creative arts, or spiritually aligned vocations. While they can work in progressive and technological domains, due to Aquarius influence, their values around money are shaped by meaning, not just utility. At times, they may feel guilt around material accumulation or oscillate between generosity and idealistic poverty. Financial growth often comes when they balance their visionary ideals with structured management. Physically, Pisces in the second house gives dreamy or expressive facial features, soft eyes, fluid expressions, or a gentle smile. The voice is typically tender, melodic, or emotionally tinted. They may speak slowly, poetically, or in a way that invites empathy. Their eating habits are emotionally driven. They may use food as comfort, ritual, or escape. Sensory sensitivities are high, and their relationship with taste or voice may carry intuitive, even karmic resonance. This house activates at ages 2, 14, 26, 38, 50, 62, and 74, each phase reshaping emotional expression, financial beliefs, or family bonding. At 14, they may begin to feel the gap between outer rationality and inner sensitivity. At 26, they may attempt to align income with ideals. At 38, they often ask what legacy of compassion or insight they will leave behind. Each cycle challenges them to reconcile emotional vulnerability with intellectual structure. Psychologically, the Kutumba Bhava for Aquarius rising reveals the private ocean beneath the airy exterior. These natives may not appear emotionally invested, but their core values are shaped by empathy, sacrifice, and longing for unconditional connection. They often oscillate between detachment and idealistic yearning, especially in speech and emotional nourishment. Their sense of self-worth is not built through logic or recognition, but through resonance with truth, compassion, and the unseen. At their best, Aquarius risings with Pisces in the second house become voices of emotional wisdom, creative truth, and collective healing. Their speech uplifts, their values unify, and their presence nurtures quietly. When imbalanced, they may escape into vagueness, sacrifice too much for others, or feel emotionally adrift. Their evolution lies in learning that values need not be grounded in numbers or systems to be real, and that gentle, imaginative truth carries just as much power as facts. Conjunctions in second house, or Kutumba Bhava for Aquarius, Part 2. All conjunctions except with Jupiter. Mercury, 5th and 8th Lord, with Ketu. A blend of deep intellect and detachment, this conjunction produces intuitive but minimal speech. The native may speak in symbolic or abstract ways, often withholding personal opinions. Communication is sensitive to the unseen, spiritual, or metaphysical. The family environment may have involved silence, mystery, or emotional absence. Financially, this favors roles in occult research, healing, or writing, especially behind the scenes. The personality is private, perceptive, and often hard to read, with values rooted in depth rather than materialism. Moon, 6th Lord with Venus, 4th and 9th Lord. This creates a nurturing yet principled voice. The Moon brings routine and care. Venus adds grace and moral refinement. The native may speak with emotional warmth and aesthetic rhythm, often guiding or counseling others. Family may have emphasized harmony, belief systems, or emotional service. Financially, this supports work in education, wellness, interior design, or law. The personality is affectionate, emotionally aware, and diplomatic, seeking emotional balance and beauty in value systems and speech. Sun, 7th with Mercury, 5th and 8th Lord. Sun brings public presence and partnership orientation. Mercury adds analytical strength and secrecy. This produces a commanding but calculated speaker. The native may have grown up in a family that valued intellect and leadership, especially in partnerships or business. Speech is confident, philosophical, and sometimes ironic. Financial gains come through law, strategy, or entrepreneurial ventures. The personality is mentally active, partnership aware, and often commands attention through measured words and deliberate presence. Venus, 4th and 9th Lord, with Ketu, a graceful but internally detached communicator. Venus brings refinement, ideals, and emotion. Ketu removes attachment to form. The native may have a soft, musical voice but prefer privacy or silence in intimate contexts. Family may have been idealistic yet distant, or spiritual but emotionally inconsistent. Financial values lean toward simplicity, often prioritizing inner peace or aesthetic expression over wealth. The personality is romantic yet reserved, with speech that hints at depth while remaining elusive. Moon, 6th Lord, with Sun, 7th Lord. This conjunction blends daily emotional rhythms with relational willpower. The native may express themselves with emotional dignity, often stepping into nurturing leadership roles. Speech can shift between sensitivity and pride. The family may have modeled service through public responsibility or emotionally intense partnerships. Financial outcomes improve through consistent service and balanced relational engagement. The personality is emotionally proud, dutiful, and relationally driven, seeking mutual validation while maintaining personal dignity. Mercury, 5th and 8th Lord, with Venus, 4th and 9th Lord. This gives a charming, articulate, and insightful voice. Mercury governs intelligence and transformation. Venus brings beauty, values, and belief. The native may speak persuasively and elegantly, with subtle emotional intelligence. The family likely emphasized culture, thought, or creative pursuits. Financially, this supports professions in writing, law, counseling, or the arts. The personality is mentally graceful, emotionally balanced, and highly perceptive, valuing communication that harmonizes mind and heart. Sun, 7th Lord, with Ketu. Sun offers presence and partnership focus. Ketu removes egoic attachment. This creates a quiet leader, someone who speaks with restraint but leaves a lasting impression. The native may have learned early to dim their light for the sake of peace. Speech is minimal but purposeful. Family dynamics may involve loss, emotional sacrifice, or spiritual influence. Financial gains are less important than the legacy of influence or service. The personality is understated, principled, and self-contained, shaped by the absence of recognition more than its pursuit.